So we have finally arrived at the final video in my Mandela Washington Fellowship series. I've really enjoyed making all of these videos and sharing everything I've learned about the fellowship over the past, I'd say, 3 years. And it's really exciting because I'm actually filming this on the 27th of August, meaning that the applications for the Mandela Washington Fellowship for 2025 are currently open. I think there's about 2 weeks left. I do know the applications opened on August 13th, so I imagine the applications are closing on September 12th or 13th. As you might recall, I am not applying this year. It actually feels really strange to be in August and not doing Mandela Washington Fellowship essays, because that's, for the past 2 years at least, how the month of August has looked for me. Anyway, I have noticed that there's so many new people around on this channel ever since the applications have opened, and that's so exciting. So if that is you, I'll introduce myself really quick. So my name is Lamia and I make videos under the themes of education, global citizenship and sustainable development. And yeah, now and again I share information about cool things that I've applied for over the years, and I just like sharing everything that I've learned. So today I actually wanted to talk you guys through my Mandela Washington Fellowship interview prep, because I mentioned in my previous video that I would be doing this, and I also mentioned that I found the document where I was doing all of my prep. So in preparation for my interview, that didn't end up happening. It's fine, I've healed, I'm okay. I took 5 steps, and today I actually want to share those 5 steps with you. So the first step I took was I did what you're probably doing right now, which is I looked online to see if there was any content, any blogs, any videos of people who had any experience with the interview, just to get some tips from them. All of the great resources I found, I will link in the description box. 2 of them are blog posts and 1 is a video, which I'll also touch on in a little while. Okay, and then the second thing I did was to revise my application. So I came to learn that the interview panel is really thorough. Like, they go through all the shortlisted candidates' applications with a fine-tooth comb. Like, they're really thorough with it. It's so sad that this is something that I'm really impressed by, because I have actually found myself in interviews before where I'm like, did you read my CV? But that to me was an indicator that I needed to go and revise my own application. Because of the time frame, by the time you actually have your interview, at least 3 months have gone by since you submitted your application. So if you're anything like me, you might have forgotten, which version of yourself you were presenting in your application. So I went through my application really thoroughly just to make sure that my interview and my application, at least as it pertains to my personal brand, was aligning. That sounds really sus, but let me try and break that down. I think in this day and age, we're all very multifaceted. So I didn't want it to be a case of, on the application, I was presenting Lamia, the interested in sustainable development version of me, and then come the interview, I'd be presenting the Lamia classical musician version of me. So that's what I meant by that. It was sounding a bit And then the third thing that I did was I prepared for the questions that I was given. I've already shared the questions I was given to prepare in a previous video. I'll link it in the cards. Especially for the questions like question 2, which was, give us an example of a difficult situation you faced in the last 12 months and tell us how you dealt with it. This question is basically begging you to use the STAR method: situation, task, action, result. The fourth thing that I did to prepare for my Mandela Washington Fellowship interview was preparing for other general interview questions. I think the interview, if I remember correctly, was 20 or 30 minutes. I just imagined them asking other questions outside of the ones that they gave me to prepare. I think we can all go into any interview assuming that the very first question would be, tell me about yourself, or why did you apply for A, B, C, D. I also was preparing to answer, tell us about what you're currently doing. I was also preparing for the question, do you have any preference concerning the institution that you'll be sent to? I remember wanting to be sent to, I think it was the University of Michigan. The name might have state in there, crazy story, but actually a few months after I submitted my initial application, there was actually a really horrific school shooting at that university campus. Anyway, so I was prepared to answer that question, and then of course I was preparing 2 questions to ask them, because I think we can all assume that at the end they'd say, do you have any questions for us? And if you've seen any of my videos off of my interning at the UN series, I don't know why I have this strategy, but I always just go in with 2 questions. That's like the golden mean for me. I don't know why it's always 2 questions. And so bouncing off of the initial question I was preparing for, tell us about yourself, I want to highlight something I thought was going to be a game changer for me, which is my 5th step, which is preparing a presentation about myself. As much as I'd love to take credit for this, I absolutely cannot, because I got this idea from a channel. I'm going to link it in the description box, and I'm going to put it over here, called Impact with Sheila. She gave this tip. She went on to do the fellowship a few years ago. I just thought it was genius. I was actually going to prepare a presentation about myself, just with some visuals, some highlights, because I think we're all visual learners at this point, and I just think it would be something quite nice and quite different to do. So there you have it, a nice short and sweet video, my final video in this series, which I've absolutely loved making. Those were the steps I was taking to prepare for my Mandela Washington Fellowship interview that never actually happened. And I would be remiss to not use this opportunity to close out this video by wishing you all the very best of luck with your applications. I'm sure that it's going to be a great experience regardless of the outcome.